Joining me now on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is Brooke Pryor from ESPN. The Steelers are off this week. Brooke is never off. Not allowed. Brooke, I would like to start with a compliment to you. And I would like to well, first of all, I'm going to preemptively text you the Starbucks gift card because there's no way that Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers coach, you cover the Steelers for ESPN, is going to fire Matt Canada. That has become abundantly clear to me. And only did this become crystallized this week because you asked specifically about significant changes, and his answer specifically was there would be no changes at offensive coordinator. There'd be no changes at quarterback. I believe he also qualified as well. But Brooke, this is how you know you've really made it in life, and I get it. Look, you've been on. You've had an amazing career so far, and you've done really well at ESPN. And let us not diminish that with this soliloquy that I'm giving you right now, okay? But when you win in a press conference and when you get name dropped by your peers, that is the true moment when you've made it, because there was a follow-up question this week with Mike Tomlin at one of his availabilities, and they said, getting back to Brooke's question, and I smiled, just as someone who's tangentially followed your career and been near it. I was like, you know what, Brooke? That was it. That was your big moment. None of this Greenberg stuff, none of this get up stuff. Don't worry about that. Getting that name drop, that's a big moment for you. So congratulations on that.
It was a big moment, but it also told me that I should have followed up on my own question.
See? Because you got to just keep learning. It's fine. It's good.
It's about playing the game, because what I asked Mike Tomlin was, you're at the bye week. We've asked you multiple times, are you going to make a change? You now have a week off. Do you anticipate making significant changes? Which everyone standing there, Mike Tomlin standing there, knew that that's code for, are you going to make a change at coordinator?
Are you going to get Matt Canada up out of the paint? Yes.
Correct. However, Mike Tomlin, being the media savvy coach that he is, you have to verbatim say what you're asking. He's not going to fall for it. And so I asked him, that's when he was like, yeah, we could make some significant changes. And in that moment, I was like, I really should follow up and say, specifically, will you change the coordinator? However, that was maybe the second or third question in his availability. I had also previously asked specifically, would he change coordinators earlier this year? And so I thought, I don't know that it is the most productive thing for me to do, to ask this question in this moment, me, myself, be the one to ask it. So shout out to Josh Roundtree, who works for a radio station here, who cleaned up I hit him with the assist. I had the alley-oop, and he just dunked it and brought us home and brought us over the finish line, and asked specifically, will you change coordinators or coaching staff? And Mike Tomlin just said, no, period. So, he is, I don't believe that the Steelers will part ways with Matt Canada this season. As I've kind of said all along, this is not an organization or a team that makes midseason coaching changes, but that pretty much sealed the deal to me, that it won't happen.
That was an easy coffee bet win for you then, so that's good. Brooke Pryor, ESPN, joining us here on the OG on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. Joe Ovis is out today. I'm Joe Giglio. So with the Steelers, they trade Chase Claypool. What did that move, the receiver, what did that move indicate to you, Brooke, about what the Steelers are trying to do this season, or where they are kind of as a franchise right now?
I mean, to me, it was interesting because much in the same way that this team doesn't usually part ways in season with a coordinator, they often don't make any trades at the deadline. And not only did they trade Claypool to the Bears, but they also then acquired Will Jackson III from the Commanders. So it shows you, hey, this is a different organization with Omar Khan at GM. To me, you trade away Chase Claypool if you can get a second rounder, because the Steelers do draft well in the second round. I would almost argue that sometimes their second round picks are better than their first, particularly when they're drafting wide receivers. So they don't necessarily need to keep Chase Claypool when he hasn't been producing at the clip that he started out as a rookie. He was not, I think, put in the best position in the slot, but it's crowded on the outside with Pickens and Deontay Johnson. I think Steven Sims is going to be a great slot receiver for them for the rest of this year. So he was expendable. As good and as strong as this receiving core is, they weren't living up to their potential on paper. And you didn't necessarily need Claypool to try to do anything this year. To me, it's about building for the future. Now they have 2 second-round picks. They have a lot of different areas that they need to address in the draft, particularly in the secondary, offensive line, even up front, even linebacker. I mean, this team is not 1 or 2 draft picks away from being a contender. So they needed to stockpile, and now they've got that.
Brooke Pryor, ESPN, joining us here on the OG. Speaking of deadline moves, Chase Claypool gets traded. A couple of former NC State stars get traded. They have new homes, Naheem Hines in Buffalo, Bradley Chubb in Miami. Who did you think came out as the winner at the trade deadline, Brooke?
I really like what the Dolphins are doing. I was already impressed with their offseason moves when they make moves to, add a guy like Tyreek Hill to complement Jalen Waddle. Tua has really impressed me. I was not a Tua believer. I will be the first to admit that I was not buying in on his success, but he's proved me wrong. And I think that the Dolphins, to me at least, trading for Bradley Chubb makes them more of a contender than they were before. To me right now at this point, they are my dark horse Super Bowl team. I know that there is some question of, could they go to Kansas City and win in January? Could they go to Buffalo and win in January? I'm not sure. But you know what? I still think that they have the pieces, they have the superstars to be really good. But to me, they are the winners, but I can identify, I think, more losers than winners at the trade deadline. And to me, the biggest losers are obviously the Green Bay Packers and the Dallas Cowboys. The Packers, by not making a move, I think, I did not think that they were going to be a wide receiver away from being anything substantial this year, from making any kind of substantial run. To me, this is them resigning to the fact that, oh, you're right, we're not going to waste draft capital to bring in something that maybe won't be a difference maker. The Cowboys, though, I think could be a Super Bowl team in the NFC, and I do think that they needed another receiver. They needed to give Dak another kind of weapon to help out, and they didn't make a move. But I also like what the Baltimore Ravens did in adding Roquan Smith. I think that they are a legitimate Super Bowl team, too. It's just a shame that feels like all of the Super Bowl contenders are in the AFC.
The other side of the river,
maybe just throw in 1 or 2 NFC teams and let the other NFC slots go to AFC teams, and just to give us the best product and the best possible matchups.
Yeah, just seed them 1 through 16. Brooke Pryor from ESPN. Before we let you go, Philly takes on Houston tonight in another terrible Thursday night game. Eagles are 7-0. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate myself for even asking. But when do the Eagles lose?
Maybe not.
Anytime soon.
Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. Maybe until they play the Cowboys again. I mean, that to me has to be the game.
Christmas, I believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while. There was an interesting discussion this morning on Get Up about the pressure that can come with being an undefeated team, and if it's better for them to lose now than to go into the playoffs without a loss. And I had a front row seat to Philly this last weekend when they just absolutely obliterated the Steelers. The Eagles are legit. Their defense in front is so good. Their secondary is good. Their offense is really good. I love the A.J. Brown to Jalen Hurts connection. They've added, also on the defense, they added Robert Quinn. I think that the Eagles, I was not sold on them when the season started. I wasn't sure. They have done nothing that tells me that I should be tentative about how I feel about them. And I think that they are just going to absolutely run over the Texans tonight. I hope to God they do. I mean, if this is I want this to have something exciting happen. I hope that we don't end up with like a 10-7 Thursday night game, which, it's Thursday night, weird, bad things happen, but I hope that there is some kind of scoring explosion.
Let's hope so. Brooke Pryor, ESPN, catch her on Get Up. You catch her all over work. She covers the Steelers. She does a great job. Before I let you go, I have to give you a hard time now. What is this bar choice on your week off? I'm hearing Bob Seger, and now I'm hearing Fogarty's put me in coach. Who are you hanging out with, and where are you? This is awful.
Someone is taking
you in a dentist's
control
office?
of the touch. Look, someone is taking control of the touch tunes. It is not me.
Not you.
Because if it was me, it would be nothing but Taylor Swift's new album. We are at Cupcas 2 on Carson Street. It has been the designated Steelers beat writer hangout on bye weeks and over the summer. And so we've got a crew. I'm looking at about 8 rowdy sports writers on the inside. It's pretty empty during the day. So we come in and take over and, have a couple of buckets of Miller Lite. The usual.
Nothing beats day drinking. Brooke Pryor, thank you so much. Enjoy your week off. We will talk to you next Thursday.
Thanks for having me.